hippie rock and roll music. Rock icon, best-selling author Ted Nugent is with us now from Los Angeles, where last week you had to meet with the Secret Service. Who is it this week, Ted?
Well, I'm out running the crucifiers right now, Glenn, but I want to wish a happy, joyous Independence Day to my blood brothers in Israel and a happy Independence Day to you and America every day. No, I'm out here rocking and rolling, taking care of business. I get up early every day and I go to work. I seek not to disrupt society. I seek to spread the truth, live the American dream of being the best that I can be. And just by doing the right thing, it upsets maniacs everywhere. I couldn't be more proud.
I want to talk a little bit about something, Ted, that you were. I don't think I would have had the control that you have had for the last, almost 2 years now. You went up to Alaska. You were hunting black bear. There is a law just in this little piece of Alaska. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. It is basically, if you are fishing and you get a strike, but you lose the fish, it doesn't matter. That counts as one fish. You were hunting for your TV show. You were hunting with bow and arrow. What happened?
Well, I do it every year. I've been hunting in Alaska since 1977, been hunting all my 63 years. I take my children and I take wounded warriors and I take terminally ill children on various hunts around the country. And because I am the top spokesman in the world, I'm not bragging, it just ended up in my lap because nobody else was doing it, to promote conservation and ethical, lawful hunting and Second Amendment rights. I have been really demonized and attacked with just vicious hate throughout my career and my life. And I take it as a badge of honor, because if you're not really upsetting idiots, you might be an idiot. So I conduct myself the way my parents raised me. I diligently examine all the laws, and I know all the laws, I thought. But there was an obscure, unprecedented new law in Alaska that said if your arrow or bullet comes in contact with the animal, even in a non-lethal hit, a non-injuring hit, that your tag is no good, which means you don't have a valid tag to use on the animal you eventually kill. Well, no one in camp, no one in town, no one in Craig, no one in Ketchikan, and just the other day in court, the judge who lives there, a hunting judge, lifetime resident of Canada in the region where the law exists, only where this law exists, the judge admitted on the court records he's never heard of this law. So was I blindsided and did I break the law? Yes, I had no intention. In fact, I showed it for 50 million people on Spirit of the Wild TV and Outdoor Channel,
so
clearly proving there was no intent.
Right. If you were going to break the law, why would you put it on TV? I mean, that doesn't make any sense.
Good question, Glenn.
Yeah. Okay.
Are you kidding me?
Now let's get down to it, because it's so much more than this little guy in Alaska. They were threatening you with a felony and threatening you with prison time.
Yeah, based on the illegally killing of a black bear on these federal islands. Again, this is the only area where this law has ever existed in the history of wildlife management. The feds came after me. The state of Alaska did not come after me, but the federal U.S. Attorney's Office did come after me, and they indicated that I could spend a year in prison and pay a $100,000 fine for potential felony Lacey Act violations, illegally taking an illegal killed animal across, I thought it was across state lines or international lines, but it also seems to be that if you bring that illegally caught fish or illegally taken animal from the federal property back to state property. Again, this is all convoluted. I had all the licenses, the tags. I registered my bait. I made sure that everything was legal. The boat was legal. My bow was legal. My kids were legal. Everybody in camp was legal. But there's this obscure, bizarre law that no one ever heard of, including the judge, including guides and outfitters and Alaska residents, that I mistakenly broke. So I admitted to my guilt, but they were pressuring me. Year in jail was the maximum, $100,000 fine, and a felony conviction, which means no guns for Ted Nugent, no hunting for Ted Nugent, no voting for Ted Nugent, and maybe an indicator to America that if you brush against our voice in the U.S. government, you better learn to shut up, because we can shut Ted Nugent up about his guns and his hunting, so you better just be nice and obedient.
Okay, real quick, because I want to get to the pigs here in a minute, but I want to go to the California deer hunt. Can you tell that in a short? Because I think this is important. It just shows the constant pressure on you to shut up.
It has been really constant, I got to tell you. Boy, it's heartbreaking. I go to California and hunt. I go everywhere. I meet with the game department, Glenn. I get all the licenses, all the tags, examine the region to be 100% legal. I killed a deer. We put it on Spirit of the Wild. Somebody claimed it was an illegal deer and that there was bait on the ground when I was hunting over acorns in an apple orchard. There was no bait. We used no bait. 36 federal and state agents pre-dawn guns drawn raid on my 3 friends who have never been arrested for anything in their life, the greatest families ever, kicking down doors, confiscating everything out of their homes, guns and bows and pictures and antlers and food out of the freezer. And one agent, John Laughlin of the California Fish and Game, literally sneered at my friend Mitch Moore as he reached in and grabbed a pair of brass knuckles from a room not on the search warrant, a search warrant he got by lying to the judge that he knew Mitch Moore because he'd never met him before in his life. I don't believe these guys aren't being prosecuted. And he held up the brass knuckles and said to my gun collecting, gunsmith, big game hunting Fred, help us get Nugent and these felony brass knuckles will go away. Make your own conclusion on that.
Now let's go to the pigs in Michigan.
So the pigs that I have are the wrong color. Let me be perfectly clear. I have a lever-action rifle. You shoot it by cocking the lever. The feds or the government comes in and says, I'm sorry, that is now a machine gun. I go, but it's not a machine gun. It's a lever action. Well, last night we decided lever actions were machine guns. Last night we decided that pigs in your pen were mysteriously feral. Everybody knows that feral animals are domestic animals that have escaped from the pen. If they're in the pen, they can't be feral. The invasive species order in Michigan is fraudulent, criminal, and against the U.S. Constitution. And family farmers are having to destroy their livestock based on the fraudulent misuse of the English language that the government of Michigan and the DNR officers, armed officers, are enforcing a fraudulent order. God help us all. I had to go in and slaughter my livestock, kill the pigs because they met some strange lie description that they were feral. Well, if they were feral, what were they doing in my pen? I'm telling you, Glenn, this is unbelievable. Now my oryx in Texas, that because we can hunt them and value the surplus harvest every year, are thriving. And the federal agent from the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service chuckled at me today and said you're going to need permits to touch your own private animals and continue with the system by which these animals have flourished. I'm telling you, it wouldn't qualify as Planet of the Apes. These people are out of control. We need a few good men that will blow the whistle. That's what I'm doing, and that's what you're doing, and a lot of Americans are standing up because these are critical and dangerous times. That's what I meant at the NRA.
Tell me, I know that, Ted, and that's why I was so pissed. Now, hopefully the viewers will know why I was so pissed last week when they were meeting with you, and I did this monologue, and I was really angry. And I was angry, and I couldn't tell these stories. You've asked me to be quiet, about these stories and not say anything. And I've watched one of the most honorable men I know, a guy who is absolutely friends with absolutely every military guy I've ever seen, friends with every kind of marshal and sheriff and law enforcement official, absolutely an environmentalist best friend. And they're crucifying this guy. I'm sorry. I don't mean to say that they're actually but that's the only thing they haven't done. One more thing, sir. Tell me about the animal that has 3 legs that is on your farm.
Well, I'm a steward of wildlife resources. My wildlife property thrives with biodiversity and thriving populations of wildlife and cool bugs and butterflies and vegetation. I am the czar of flora and fauna. You know it. I plant trees every year because I train my children and taught my children that as consumers we should put more back into the earth than we take. So we bought a bunch of scimitar-horned oryx that have been breeding and reproducing every year. We sell off the older bulls to generate revenues and family hours of recreation, licenses, guides, permit, hotels, food, lodging, gas, taxidermy, ice, butchers. Are you kidding me? I got this one-man army of job creation. And now, out of nowhere, a judge has sided with an animal rights maniac, putting to end the system by which the oryx have now become thriving and populated, and they're absolutely stable and growing. And now we're implementing the system based on this federal U.S. Fish and Wildlife. The judge made it happen, but U.S. Fish and Wildlife is enforcing it. I have a crippled three-legged calf that was born about 12 days ago. It's crippled, it's injured, it's in pain and suffering. A good, honest, conscientious person would put it out of its misery. If I were to do the right thing, I would be committing a felony, Glenn. And this U.S. Fish and Wildlife officer laughs at me today and says it's a good system. This is unbelievable.
You know what? This is the same group of people. Next Friday, we're doing a special on people here in America from the left that are actually saying that crippled children should be put down. Crippled children should be put down. You're not going to believe this show. You are not going to believe this. Yeah. So they're saying that about crippled children, that we should kill crippled children. But a crippled calf? No. No. This is insane. Ted, I said this to you. I think I've said this to you for the last year or so, and I mean it more and more every day. With firm reliance on the protection of divine providence, we mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor. I will stand by your side all the way. All the way.
Thank you, Glenn. And let me tell you, if some of the agents are getting angry at me for what I'm saying, that would be guilt. Because if you know the right thing, how dare you not blow the whistle like those heroes of the ATF on Fast and Furious?
They're not.
That's your job.
Do you know why? You know why they're not blowing the whistle, Ted?
Because they're afraid of losing their jobs.
No, they're not. No, they're not. This president is employing the Espionage Act, and anyone who blows the whistle, they're facing 30 years in jail. That's why.
Right. You're correct about that.
That's why.
You're correct
and
about
it's only going to get worse, America. It's only going to get worse. You've got to say something. If you see something, say something. And we have to stand together. Ted, thank you. God bless.
Godspeed, Glenn. God bless my friends out there.
See you soon. Back in a minute.